that I help entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs make marketing make sense. So, what are we going to talk about today? What we're going to talk about today are three things every entrepreneur needs to know about sales. So, you might say, okay, well, Crystal, what does sales have to do with marketing? Well, they're kind of like, I don't know, Siamese twins to me. So the three things I want to share three things about sales because I think there's a lot of misconception with entrepreneurs around what's necessary for sales to happen over time, over the long haul. And so I thought these 3 points would be really great as a jumping off point for you to learn more about sales and how it works with your business and how you can grow your business. So the first thing I want to share is something you probably have heard before if you've been in business for any length of time, and that is the number of times it takes to to convert a lead into a customer. But what you may not have thought about is the process, the pipeline doesn't just go necessarily lead to customer. It goes lead, as in when we talked about lead generation, whether it's somebody from Facebook or somebody that you know, or it's a referral, okay, it goes lead to sales qualified lead to customer. Okay, so that means that even though you may be paying for ads, even though you may have a whiz bang PR person, even though you may have tons of leads, everybody loves your products, you got referrals, okay, that there's a difference between a lead and a qualified lead. Okay, so a lead is just anybody. A sales qualified lead is somebody who you know has a need to or has the problem that your solution solves. So, and they're in the market for the thing that you are that your product or services solves their problem. So then now they're a sales qualified lead. So for a sales qualified lead, now let's take it 6 to 8 contacts to convert that qualified lead to a customer. So what that means is that every time you call somebody up and say, hey, I got this wonderful product or service, are you interested? That's not necessarily going to turn into a customer right away. But with the proper follow-up, which is item number 2, you can build that relationship because people buy from people, I know you've heard this before, who they like, know, and trust. And so this 6 to 8 connection or contact is part of that process. Think of it like dating. Okay, you don't just get married right away. You're going to date, you're going to talk, you're going to get to know each other, and then you pop the question, and then they buy, right? So that's the first thing, is just an understanding a little bit more detail in depth about the sales pipeline, or this 6 to 8 that everybody talks about, because it's not just a lead that you want. You want a sales qualified lead. You want somebody who knows that has the problem that your product solves, and they're in the market and they want to be able to solve that problem. Okay. The second thing is the follow-up. This is so key, right? So say you have a sales qualified lead. Now you're in that process of relationship building, right? So this is where in the old days, maybe you call them up and say, hey, so-and-so, how are things? How are the kids? How's school? And this type of thing. And then you continue to investigate if, have you identified someone to solve that problem for you yet or not? And so that type of activity is follow-up when you're building a relationship. Well, nowadays there's somewhat easier ways to do that. Like, with my business, I do automation of, auto email, auto text, and things like that. That's a way to kind of clone yourself to make it easier to follow up with people, because you're one person. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're the salesperson, you're the marketing person, you're the delivery person, you're the, you're the accountant, you're everything, right? And so anything that you can do to help you to do the follow-up is amazing. And so it was just so hard to make those initial calls and reach outs to get leads in the process, and then to take that lead to a sales qualified lead is another part, right? that we haven't even talked about. And then to take the sales qualified lead to convert them to a customer, that's another process of here's what I have to offer, and answering your questions and following up with different, maybe there's some research articles you can provide. Maybe there's something else in social proof. Maybe there's a referral, testimonials, and things like that that you can share with people so they can get to know more about what you do and how you can help them. So that's the second thing, is to make sure that you have that consistent follow-up to be able to take that qualified sales lead into a real legit converted customer. Okay. And then the third thing that I wanted to share about that is the delivery. Now, I think in a lot of sales training and marketing training, the delivery part is the part that we miss. But delivery to me is it's the most important tool that you have in terms of marketing your business and getting referrals and getting new customers. Why? Because it's what you do. If you can do all the work, you can pay for the ads, you can get the leads in the door, you can nurture them to become qualified sales leads, you can nurture them and convert them to customers. But then if you drop the ball on delivering your product or service, they're not going to want to give you referrals. They might even be happy with the product or service you're delivering for them after they jump through some hoops, but they don't want their friends or their family to go through what they went through if they had trouble with the way you delivered the goods and services to them, right? And so you have to think about, and I'm always trying to think about, what is my customer experience going to be? How am I going to get the information they need? That I need from them. If I'm doing a website for you, how am I going to get your logo? How am I going to get the images that I need? And so I do things like, I try to make it easy with things like, leveraging Google Drive and not having to do too many things through email, but just that for every touch point. And this is an exercise for you, like a homework exercise. For every touch point that you have with your customer after they say yes, now I want you to get a piece of paper and write down, what does your delivery look like? What are the touch points? What information do you need from them? What information do they need to provide to you? How easy is it to do business with you? How easy is it? Is it Cash App only? Do you take multiple forms of payment? How do you take the forms of payment? Do you send them receipts? Do you send them thank you notes? I mean, a lot of the stuff is automated. There's tons of different apps out there to automate those things, but just to be able to customize it for your business is what will help you to create a customer experience that's like no other. So even if there is a competitor out there who does similar to what you do, who wants to leave a good thing that's great with delivery to go somewhere else? They're going to stay with you because you deliver a quality product, you did it in an excellent way, and then they'll want to refer. And the other thing is have a process for them to refer, because a lot of times people will want to refer to you and they don't even know how to do it. So that's a whole nother video. So anyway, that's what I want to share with you today. 3 things every entrepreneur ought to know about sales. Number 1, it takes 6 to 8 contacts to go from sales qualified lead to customer, not necessarily from lead to customer. The second thing that you must know, is that you want to make sure that you're following up in every phase of the process. And if you don't have time to do it yourself, find a tool and automate it. Find an agency that does automation, like mine, for example, shameless plug, and then have them automate the process for you so that you can be ever present with your leads and be able to convert more. I think the percentage is like 20% more leads when you actually engage in some form of follow-up. You increase your chances of closing them tremendously. And then finally, you want to make sure that you deliver excellence with your customers, that you've thought through in advance the process of how they're going to do business with you, and identify those areas that might be a little sticky and try to make it as simple as possible. And power tip, even if it's just a clunky process, if you communicate to people ahead of time that it's a clunky process, then they're willing to work with you. If you say, oh, you know what, I know this is going to be a pain, but I have to, I need you to give me this, this, and this, and then we'll be all set. Even that little thoughtfulness in the process of delivery can make a world of difference between how many referrals you get and how many additional customers that you get just based on your reputation. So with that, thank you for watching. If this was helpful for you, then definitely share the video. I love it when people share my videos, and I will hope you have a great rest of your week. There's only one day left after today, but enjoy it anyway, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.